Hello, welcome. You are listening to Dr. Sushma Singh. Today in Unit 15, the middle class, we are going to start our lecture with the topic values related to family, marriage, and women's status among the middle class. Even in the 21st century, marriage is considered an important traditional social institution that all are supposed to enter into. Choices available with the individual, specifically women, are very few, as marriage and motherhood are taken to be the ultimate goals. A woman's identity is seen to be largely dependent on her marital status. Marriage is still seen as a way of life through which the individual entered adulthood in both upper and upper middle classes of urban India, who outwardly appear to be modern. Although marriage is considered essential for both men and women, yet in the case of women, adherence to the social norms becomes more rigid. In the context of remaining single, and unmarried women seem to have a limited choice. In other words, men have more options as they could choose to remain single, but women by and large do not enjoy such freedom. Particularistic criteria continue to provide the normative basis for the formation of intimate relation among people across all classes. Although arranged marriages whereby the parents choose the prospective mate for their children are the preferred form of marriage, in the upper and upper middle classes certain changes are observable. Semi-arranged marriages in which individuals choose their own life partner but marry only with the consent of their parents are also taking place. In such marriages, intercaste and interreligious marital alliances are being tolerated, albeit conditionally. Hindu-Muslim and Hindu-Christian marriages are still taboo. The main reason cited for disapproval for such alliances is the higher probability of maladjustment between spouses because of religious differences, leading to breakdown of ties. Other than these exceptional cases, a majority continues to subscribe to the traditional value system, with emphasis being laid on marriages taking place within the same caste and religion. However, certain changes have occurred from previous generations, as the prospective mates are allowed to meet once or twice before the finalization of the marital union. In the lower middle and lower classes, there is a strict adherence to social norms. Wedding ceremonies are preferred in a traditional way. Choices available with individuals are very few. In case of lower middle class, such values and norms are comparatively more deep-rooted. Certain ambiguities are quite evident in the attitudes of those belonging to the middle class, as they seem to be more open to change while responding to the same queries in the questionnaire, but adopt a more traditional viewpoint while narrating their life histories without being too conscious during in-depth interviews. Such contradictions are inherent in the set of social norms and values upheld by them. Furthermore, the stereotypical role of men being the breadwinners and the woman the nurturer are perpetuated. In the upper and upper middle classes, certain changes are observable. There is superficial emancipation, as women are choosing clothes that are in tune with the latest in the world of fashion. Nonetheless, they do not have complete freedom to decide on matters related to their occupation and marriage. Since marriage and motherhood are considered to be the most important goals, all decisions have to be the connects with these. Women in the upper class are not encouraged to be gainfully employed, as that is taken to reflect the poor status of the families that they belong to. Vocations with flexible times are subscribed to, making it convenient for them is to complete their primary task of home management and therefore not facing any form of role conflict. Although women in the upper and upper middle classes in the contemporary age appear to be more autonomous compared to those belonging to the previous generations, they are still considered to be the appendage to men. Only in the realm of the size of the family the former seem to have as much say as the latter. In the upper middle class, parents lay emphasis on their daughters excel in their studies just as they would wish their sons to. However, emphasis is not laid on higher education as that is taken to be a hindrance in getting good matrimonial matches. A harmonious marital relationship is seen to be dependent on women occupying a subordinate status to men. In the lower middle class also, women appear to have limited choices in the sphere of education. Education is considered important in order to enable them to be better wives and mothers. Significantly, most women are gainfully employed, but they are compelled to join the workforce to meet the economic needs of the family. Women are essentially expected to remain within the domains of their household and cater to the needs of their families. This is viewed as a natural phenomena. Women do not have absolute freedom to decide on matters concerning selves. Thus, it is quite apparent that the women in the middle class, both upper and lower, are still not self-determining individuals. Social roles continue to be defined in accordance with the traditional expectations. Also, while forming friendship, particularistic norm continues to play some roles, as such relationships are usually based on class similarities, that is, with similar economic background and value systems. Thus, it is quite interesting to note that in contemporary times the middle class in India has not acquired a stable form and cannot be labeled as modern. Now let us conclude the unit. At the onset, there would be a strong tendency to state that the middle class in urban India is modern, based on the fact that materialistically there is a marked changes, albeit slowly, while there is no denying the fact that the consumer culture has still not taken a well entrenched form in India. Yet it must be conceded that consumption patterns of the urban Indian middle class is changing. Overt symbols such as cars, electronic goods, designer clothes are being used to portray the progressive attitude and supposedly modern status of individuals. However, to define class in terms of economic status alone will not be an adequate representation of the class situation in India. In this unit, we have tried to bring out the fact that the basis for formation of social relation is an important criteria for understanding the middle class in India. Middle class in India cannot be defined as being completely modern. Modernization is not just about possessing the latest electronic appliances and being technologically updated. Rather, it needs to be visible in attitudes of people that come into effect in their social relations with others. Modernity brings in its wake new forms of social interaction. In the context of the urban middle class in India, lack of modernity is perceptible in most realms of the personal lives of the people, with social relations continuing to be embedded in traditional expectations, norms, and mores. Essentially, those living in these cosmopolitan cities appear to be grappling with the difficult alternatives of tradition and modernity. Normative patterns and value orientations are still particularistic, ascriptive, based, and patriarchal. Choices in interpersonal relationships are socially controlled. Furthermore, social conditioning perpetuates reactions and thinking along expected lines that underline the predominant codes of a male dominated society. We are in no way suggesting that the Indian middle class has not progressed at all. As Dipankar Gupta argues, though the past is in our present, it is not as if the past in its entirety is our present. Metamorphosis is taking place, which is why people are appearing to be ambivalent in their thinking, as it evident while conducting research amongst them on these aspects. Modernity brings in its wake contradictions and ambiguities in the minds of people as options available with them expand manifold. This phenomena is being experienced by the urban middle class of India. Therefore, one can conclude that the social order is in a transitional stage, with the traditional value system still being predominant in the traditional modernity continuum. Here we want to close this lecture, and we have come to the end of the unit. Thanks for listening.